Welcome to Fire Talk from the Konocti Fire Safe Council. I'm Bill Grudy. I'm on the road again, this time in Library Park in Lakeport, and I am at an event held by the Clear Lake Environmental Research Center. They're pulling together various entities to help build a fire safety coalition. Let's see. Who's here? Northshore Fire District, California Fire Chiefs Association, PG&E, the Forest Service, the Gordon and Betty Moore Foundation, and of course CLERC. They're all involved. As you can hear right now, people from each of these groups are addressing about 70 or so folks who are gathered from other community groups right across Lake County. After they finish up, we're going to talk with Will Evans from CLERC. We're going to talk with Chief Mike Ciancio from Northshore Fire's Hogback Ridge crew, and with Clay Merrill from PG&E. First, we're going to check with Will Evans, who's standing right here. Will's the head honcho.
I am the co-founder and executive director of CLERC, the Clear Lake Environmental Research Center.
Tell me a little bit about how the idea for this collaborative got going and what you hope to achieve.
It started years ago when we started having all these crazy large wildfires and knew that we had to do something. And then through our work of getting these large grants, we realized that we needed a permanent crew to keep doing the work. And then once we developed the crew, we realized we needed to actually enhance that crew with outside funding from not just government grants, but this case a PG&E grant. And then we also needed to invest in these other things. So like the carbonator to make the biochar, and then the prioritization scheme. So this really started about last fall when Chief Ciancio was working with Donovan Lee at PG&E, and then they went back and forth and realized how great this would be. And then we had a few more conversations with some other folks at PG&E, and then it seemed like a natural fit. And then here we are today. This is really just the beginning of this. In a lot of ways, the real story will be probably a year from now when we can see everything we've done.
As I travel around the county, one thing that people talk about is how everything up here seems to be so siloed. And when I hear the term collaboration, I think of, gee, the objective is to break down some of these silos. So what sort of efforts, what sort of things will be going on to help achieve that?
It's interesting. I have a newfound appreciation for silos because when you're starting out something from scratch, you need some structure. And a lot of the beauty of our partnership with the Northshore Fire Department is that they get to handle the things that their silo is built for, and then CLERC handles the things that our silo is built for, but we have really good communication and back and forth, and we work together almost as if we're one giant team. But when it comes down to kind of the nitty-gritty administrative things, they hire a lot more people than we do. They have a larger crew. They do different kinds of work, have different workers' comp requirements and that kind of thing. So it's a natural fit to have us kind of do the paperwork, and then they do the saw work.
You've also managed to bring in companies like PG&E and others, and so I think, isn't that part of the value?
Yeah, it's the all of the above approach, and it's back to kind of what I mentioned earlier, is if it's all of the above, and that includes all the funding, because it's just like any investment portfolio. If it's going to be sustainable, you can't just put all your eggs in one basket. So this is actually a new way that if it goes well, we have potential to make this a permanent way that we fund this activity, not just in Lake County, but in other places that PG&E covers too. And this is actually modeled off of the North Tahoe Utility District and North Tahoe Fire Protection District, which have had this arrangement going on for about 20 years. They formed the North Tahoe Fuels team, and they work together collaboratively. This is in Nevada normally, so kind of taking the lessons from a different state and then not necessarily reinventing the wheel, just trying to get those wheels here.
So on a day-to-day basis, what sort of activity will be going on?
Well, they'll see the Hogback Ridge crew out in the neighborhoods running the chippers, picking up piles for people. We'll be doing a lot of community-wide chipping days in all neighborhoods in Lake County. They'll also be doing a lot of projects from our current community wildfire protection plan, which are roadside fuel breaks, evacuation route clearing, getting rid of hazard trees, going through lots of people that can't clear their lots themselves. They're going to be helping them out to get that work done, because we all got to work together. If I clear my lot and then my neighbors don't, it doesn't do my lot a whole lot of good. So we all got to be doing everything.
The Hogback Ridge crew it really seems to be kind of the fulcrum around which this whole thing resolves. Is that kind of an accurate description?
It is somewhat. We use a lot of private contractors too. Actually, Juan Soria right here, he runs Environmental Resource Services. He does a ton of work for us. He's a licensed timber operator, and it's important that we get into a lot of different types of projects, and you got to have the right tool for the job or the right crew and the right equipment. And the Hogback Ridge crew really focuses on the ground level, not as dangerous stuff, but if you're getting into falling logging type of operations, you really need someone with a logging license for that.
If we look a year down the road, first anniversary of this collaboration, what do you hope people will see?
Well, I would like to see us really develop this dynamic fire pathways analysis and have that be the vehicle for updating the Lake County Community Wildfire Protection Plan project list, which, as you're well aware, it was a long time coming to get that updated, and we really don't want that to sit again for more than a year without having an official update. And as Chief Winokur mentioned, the stuff that you do this year, it's going to affect the priorities for next year in terms of where fires are going to go. So that would be ideal, is that we run that every year, and then that becomes the basis for our projects. I'd also like to see PG&E renew the funding for the crew, because this would really help continue that diversification of funding for this critical service that we need. And then the other thing is just the potential for adding future components to the collaboration. We have a lot of interesting questions that we haven't found answers to, and a lot of it, how do we restore native vegetation in areas that have full of invasive species, and it's particularly important in fire impacted areas, because after a fire you get all sorts of things coming in after that, which actually make the fire worse in the future.
How do you envision fire safe councils helping out with this?
Well, the fire safe councilors are going to be critical, and this is something I'd mentioned earlier, is that we kind of operate at the county level, the fuels team operates at the county level, but we really need those local community, neighborhood level groups to get the word out, get the messaging out, and really kind of whip the folks into shape. And then we'll provide the services and find the grant money, but ultimately we need those groups to help get the horse to the trough, kind of thing.
Thanks a lot, Will.
Thanks.
You just heard Will talk about the Hogback Ridge crew, how they have been out and about over the past year or so. It was Northshore Fire Chief Mike Ciancio's idea, and Mike is here now. So let's go back to the beginning, Mike. How did this program get started, and where did the idea come from?
So the idea started, my battalion chiefs, it was budget time, and my battalion chiefs wanted me to start a dozer program and buy a bulldozer that would help us with wildfires. And I'm like, looking at our hillsides, too steep for dozer work. And out of that came an idea, well, what about a hand crew? And that's how it started. That's literally how it started.
And then what, did you just go knocking on doors looking for funding, or
No.
how'd you get the money to begin with?
When I started and I preached this vision of a hand crew, I talked to some people around the county, Supervisor Crandall, Chairman Sherry Treppa from the Haventoll tribe, and some of my board members about what they thought of the idea, and they thought it was great.
And did they provide seed funding to get you going?
Yes, so I threw that idea out to Ms. Treppa and Crandall and my board, and within about 8 hours of that meeting, Ms. Treppa called me back and said, we want you to do a full presentation in front of our board.
What sort of activities, what sort of work are these guys doing?
These guys, they'll do fuel reduction work. They'll, whether it's vacant or around houses, we're widening evacuation routes. And then they also are, during the summertime, are available to respond to local fires here in the county.
How many people are in the crew? And do you have one crew, two crews?
One crew, a total of 11 people. Now, we're not full at the current moment, but we're looking to hire.
What's the sales pitch to get people into this, and how does it affect their lives personally? Let's put fire reduction aside for a second.
Most of the staff that are on the fuels crew team like the outdoors, they like working. We provide all the training. They don't have to have anything other than a high school education.
Are these people who in some cases need a leg up?
Yeah, I would say, yeah.
Any successful career stories or things you could share with us?
So in the first year, we had a full crew of 11, and by the end of the first fire season, half of the crew was hired by local whether it was the Forest Service or CAL FIRE. I had like 6 go to the Forest Service.
This can really be the first rung on the ladder.
Yes, it can in the fire service.
Is this replicable? Can other districts, fire districts, pick this up? Have you had interest in other districts doing it?
It's becoming more and more popular across the state. There are a lot of fire departments that are starting to develop their own hand crews for various reasons.
How do you expect that this collaboration, this effort here that CLERC is putting together, is going to help you folks?
CLERC's piece of this is that I do not have the time or the experience or the people to manage the grants and do all that administrative work. I can put the boots on the ground. So our collaborative together is they manage the grants, they administer it, and get the projects ready. And when the projects are ready, the crew comes in and just does it.
Yeah, that's an important piece. This is not funded by Northshore, right?
Correct. This crew is 100% funded by the work they do. The taxpayers of the Northshore Fire District do not support it.
If we look a year down the road, the first anniversary of this collaboration, where do you hope things will be?
I hope that we are improving it. I hope that we're fully staffed up to that 16 mark number. And I hope that we're making a difference in all the communities in the county to slow the spread of wildfire down with fuel reduction work.
Thanks a lot, Mike. Really appreciate you taking some time.
Thank you.
You know, it takes money to put these projects together, and I'm happy to report that PG&E has stepped up in a big way for this, which brings me to Clay Merrill, who is one of PG&E's local government affairs officials. Thanks for spending some time with us, Clay.
Thank you.
How did PG&E get involved with this collaborative effort?
Well, we have a really, really solid public safety specialist team that works really closely with a lot of the fire chiefs and a lot of the fire response agencies, and they saw a need here in the county where this is, a prime opportunity for us to work with one of our hometown communities to help and make sure that this area is prepared for emergencies, specifically related to wildfires. So this was an opportunity for us to actually put some skin in the game and help our local hometowns.
What do you expect to be doing over the next year? They're looking a year down the road to see how this plays out.
Well, our biggest part is just the funding, providing the funding that these fire agencies need in order to get the crews and to be able to help kind of establish a foundation where they can continue to do this work from here on into the future.
Now, you are going to be providing some assistance to the hogback crew, right?
Correct, yeah. I mean, we're going to be trying to help in any ways possible, helping them with recruiting, helping them with, putting together the infrastructure that they need internally in order to respond to the issues that they are handling.
So it's more than just money.
It's more than just money, but essentially we realized that the funding was a big part of it, right? That they can't start what they need to do unless they have the funding in order to hire the necessary men and women that can do the work that needs to be done.
Are there other projects that you have your eye on similar to this sort of thing?
This is something that we would hope to do in other areas throughout our service territory where we can provide the resources necessary in order to help with the wildfire issues that we were seeing up and down the state.
Are you going out and seeking projects?
We're either seeking them out or sometimes they're coming to us. I mean, we are very much involved with local public safety and trying to make sure people are prepared and responding accurately to these natural disasters that we're seeing. So it's a little bit of both, I think.
If we look, say, a year down the road to the first anniversary of this, what would you hope that the PG&E collaboration, the whole effort would yield?
I hope it yields the opportunity to see a real difference in Lake County as far as being able to support the community, being able to make sure this community feels prepared and that they feel safe, and that it could be in some ways a pilot and maybe a project that people look at and can replicate in other parts of the state.
Is there a dollar figure that the PG&E has put into this effort so far?
$500,000 was the money that we gave in order to kind of help get this project going, so really excited about that.
And where is that money going? Is that all going to hogback, or is that going to other things?
I think it's going to be used in various parts of the collaborative, but it's all there to kind of get it going and to make sure that it's going to be a well-oiled machine.
Thanks a lot for talking with us.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate it.
In our short time, we have just scratched the surface of what is going to be happening. We're going to take a deeper look at the Pathways Modeling Project that Will Evans talked about a bit earlier. This is where the Gordon and Betty Moore Foundation comes in. They're heavily involved in data-driven research, and that's what this is all about. In the case of this project, they're going to help CLERC to develop a computer modeling tool that will help us to better understand the way that fires could travel here in Lake County in the future. And that's going to be a big help as we develop evacuation plans and as we try to figure out where to target brush clearing and other fuel reduction efforts and what sort of grants to go after. Great work and a great message, and a big shout out to the Clear Lake Environmental Research Center for this event and this initiative. That's it for this edition of Konocti Fire Talk. Konocti Fire Talk is a production of the Konocti Fire Safe Council. I'm Bill Grudy. We'll see you next time.